Red Bull updates in 2022 Formula One season. In a sport where the competition is not only won on the racetrack, but also through engineering feat, all teams' engineers compete by finding ways to make the car lighter, faster, and of course, be the winning car. Welcome to F1 Freaks. We'll be talking about Team Red Bull's updates in this year's Formula One. The top teams have spent heavily on upgrades this season as they continue to learn more about how their vehicles cope following a vast regulation overhaul over the winter. Red Bull has recently upgraded Verstappen and Sergio Perez's cars. They have had varying success, with the Dutchman leading and on course to retain his title. In preparation for the British Grand Prix, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez ran several upgrades. The team headed into the Silverstone race, having significantly adjusted their floor and several other lighter parts. The floor has undergone several tweaks, although some are minimal. The RB18 features a new, narrower hood that differs significantly from its predecessor. This is a significant aerodynamic update, which should improve airflow to the rear wing and make the car more aerodynamically efficient than before. The interrupted Venturi channel profile, or the channels that feed air under the car to produce downforce, is one conspicuous new aspect of the floor. These channels no longer have a single continuous profile, but are separated into many parts, with deflecting connecting edges. This design aims to produce a sudden increase in pressure at specific locations along the Venturi channels. Red Bull trialled a new floor design during the Spanish Grand Prix, a floor with a step that could be seen on the outer edge of the Venturi channels. Red Bull is now trying to capitalize on the fact that the impact is more prevalent there than it is amongst its rivals, with the primary goal being to reduce stalls on the lengthy drag reduction system, the DRS straights. Silverstone's floor modifications are very closely related to those made in Spain. As a result, much of the downforce and drag at high speeds are eliminated. This is like that introduced by Ferrari at Barcelona and is believed to relieve excess pressure when running close to ground level, thereby inhibiting stall and subsequent bouncing. It effectively allows the car to be run lower. It seems that Adrian Newey has once again done a great job. Red Bull Racing's chief technical officer is arguably the most successful Formula One designer ever and specializes in aerodynamics, which is where the RB18 has excelled so far. Red Bull didn't stop with the aerodynamics. They brought new barge boards to Silverstone. These new barge boards will allow the airflows to the Venturi ducts to be properly routed. These upgrades will make the car nearly 5 pounds lighter than it was in the Canadian Grand Prix, with lighter parts installed in several places, while aiming to ensure the team has learned from their early season DRS troubles, a problem caused by their push to shift weight. Red Bull's well thought out slimming method is now bearing fruit, with the extra weight loss worth an estimated 0.2 seconds per lap. The most visually obvious of the changes to the RB18 was its new engine cover, specifically the lower three-quarter area, linking the upper side pod to the cooling exit between the rear wing and the lower beam wing. This section has been flared out significantly, forming an almost shelf-like area and creating a channel between it and the downward ramp of the side pod. The increased volume of the cooling channels from the radiators to the rear outlet created by this modification will undoubtedly increase the car's cooling capacity. Red Bull says it is to give them more cooling options for the forthcoming races. Usually though, increasing the cooling capacity involves compromising the aerodynamics, but with this update, Red Bull may have found a way of improving both cooling and aerodynamics. With cooling slats that have been resited from just behind the cockpit to further back and above the new shelf, the airflow downwashing over the top of the side pod's downward ramp now appears to have a more clearly defined route, with the shelf effectively defining a tunnel. The speed of the airflow over that ramp as it makes its way to the area between the rear wheel and the diffuser exit plays a crucial role in energizing the airflow coming through that diffuser and, therefore, how hard the underbody is working. The new, more tunneled route over the side pod could well be helping accelerate that flow harder than before. and the relocation of the cooling slats from near the ramp to the upper surface of the shelf and out of the way of the ramp should further enhance the flow, as the used warm air exiting the slats is aerodynamically disruptive. Red Bull's understanding of the porpoising phenomenon was already excellent from the beginning of the season, with the current car almost free from bouncing that has significantly affected many rival cars. Ahead of the Austrian Grand Prix, new gearbox components come in for Red Bull team without any consequences. Valtteri Bottas will start the Austrian Grand Prix from the back of the grid after taking on several new power unit elements ahead of the weekend. Valtteri Bottas also changed not only his gearbox but also almost all other engine parts, with the exception of the energy store. Bottas is not the only driver running new components at the Red Bull ring, with Max Verstappen taking on a new gearbox for the event. This will be the Dutchman's second of the allotted 4, so there will not be a penalty given. Teams are allowed to use 4 items from both the housing and the internal parts on a yearly basis. Other teams have updates too. Charles Leclerc and Zhou Guanyu are running new gearbox components. Leclerc is using a new energy store, and McLaren's Lando Norris joins Bottas in having his car fitted with a fresh ICE, turbocharger, MGUH, MGUK, and exhaust system. Again, this does not warrant a penalty, as each part is within the amount allocated. With Red Bull doing most of the upgrades entering into Silverstone for the Austrian Grand Prix, a few tweaks are all we know for now. Red Bull says 2 of their updates are aimed at improving the reliability of their car. Last month, Sergio Perez hosted the team's 4th race-ending technical failure in the Canadian Grand Prix. The team has also been compromised by reliability problems during races, as happened to Perez at the Miami Grand Prix. There is an extra cooling exit in the top body, in addition to the usual cooling louvers, in anticipation of the high ambient temperatures, which can affect this race. The forecast for this weekend is not particularly hot, so this edition might not be raced until Hungary, where the combination of short straights and high temperatures is usually very demanding. The floor fences, which already have a very intricate geometry on the Red Bull, have received a minor geometry change in search of improved flow stability at different ride heights. The front brake disc heat shield has been given greater clearance because of the high braking energy generated on this track. As for McLaren, the rear brake duct has been reshaped to give a more efficient combination of brake cooling and aerodynamic effectiveness. The lower edge of the rear wing end plate has been trimmed to provide further clearance of the components around it in the interests of reliability. Alpine had a rear wing tweak, with a small cutaway on the end plate in the interests of drag reduction. Williams has also brought a further minor change to their car. The team introduced a massive update package on its FW44 at the last race on Alexander Albon's car only. This was badly damaged in the crash at the start, but the team have been able to repair its chassis. Like Mercedes did at the last race, Williams has increased the bodywork cladding around the front suspension to give better airflow downstream. Mercedes, Ferrari, AlphaTauri, Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo and Haas have no updates reported yet. According to reports, Red Bull has already spent around 75% of the budget they are allowed to develop their car. It doesn't seem like they are slowing down anytime soon. It's clear that cost cap or not, the development war is very much ongoing. Thanks for watching. This brings us to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click on the bell for notifications.